Alright, time for another video. We gotta talk about Maximilian Verstappen. Something's up with Maximilian. Something is uppity up. He's sim racing. Alright, we know that the new gen love the sim racing and all of that. There's a contingent of them that are quite married to the sim racing. Alright, but he's sim racing on Grand Prix weekends. I could understand some casual stuff or some semi-competitive stuff on a rank ladder or something. You do a 30-minute timed race or whatever, yeah, I'd get all of that, but just doing a 24-hour event? This is your champion. Never mind the collision, it is what it is. It is what it is. There's no point talking about Maximilian and his driving standards in combat anymore. It is what it is. You seemingly can't really do it when forced to do it at the highest level. But anyway, that's for him to solve or never solve. We'll see how that goes. But he's been really flippant on the radio with the team. Chan Piero Lambiase is now cussed him out. I'm pretty sure it's not the first time he's cussed him out this season, but they've decided to air it now. So, they've decided to air it. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. There was a shift that happened there. A phase shift, if you will. There's been a phase shift in a lot of arenas right now. In the rap with this Kendrick Drake thing, there's been a phase shift over there. In the politics with Trump getting shot at, there's been a phase shift over there. Especially there's a phase shift in F1. A phase shift is coming in football. It is what it is. Maybe even a phase shift internationally, but well, what do I mean by that? A phase shift across hemispheres, at least in terms of the football, because some of the African nations are cooking and all of that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't necessarily think that last one will happen, but I can be optimistic sometimes. But yeah, there's been a phase shift in a fair few environments. And, well, there's one happening in F1. Now, by all accounts, I still expect Maximilian to secure a championship this season. I do still expect that. Would be a different thing if Lando Norris won, executed correctly at Silverstone, and then 2 was ruthless at the Hungaroring, but he can't own that character. He can't own it. If he had been able to execute at Silverstone, he would probably be a little more justified in taking the win at the Hungaroring. But anyway, that's for another video. But Maximilian, it's getting to a point where FOM themselves are gonna have to fold on this Maximilian gambit. You're gonna have to fold on it. I can't say they've done so already. Doesn't necessarily feel complete just yet. But they are fashioning Lando Norris as a face of F1 to take over from Maximilian Verstappen. Maybe even Oscar Piastri. Who knows? I'm pretty sure they want Antonelli to smash it out the park. They're going to give him his super license and all of that. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, but FOM seem very ready to shuttle Verstappen out of the protagonist spotlight. You see, he stopped being the protagonist at the Hungaroring. That was interesting. That was a very interesting moment. Oh my days. He was no longer cast as the protagonist of F1. Interesting, right? Now all of a sudden it shifts to Lando. Now they're going to come talk about British bias all of a sudden. No, no, no. Like this guy Maximilian, I don't know what they would. I don't know what they told him over the weekend. They didn't tell him to stop sim racing or anything. I can't believe that it would be a lie. I can't believe it would be like, yeah, sure, he caught some Z's here and there, but he was sim racing late into the night and early in the morning. Too early on a race weekend. And what happens out on the real circuit is not what happens on the sim race, I'll tell you that much. It don't really matter how they try it. Don't really matter how they try to do it with the simulator. The embodied experience is a completely different thing. You crash, you're gonna feel it. They're talking about 51 G's and this man having an eye issue. And then, of course, they realized, oh, that's problematic. And then they retracted instantly, saying, oh, no, he's healed. Don't worry. It's all recovered. It's all recovered by this point. There's a saying, you know. I suppose it applies to an older F1. But there's a saying that each accident takes about, what, 3/10 of a second from you? Something like that. Might be more. Maybe it's half a second. Back when Nelson Piquet and men like this were racing. I think it was Nelson Piquet that said it. Or it might have been Fittipaldi, one of them. No, it couldn't have been Fittipaldi, it must have been Piquet. But it was one of the Brazilians, or just one of the South Americans in general. They said each accident you have takes time from you. Maybe you lose bravery, maybe you pick up an injury. And sometimes the accident is your fault. And Maximilian is getting into a lot of accidents that are his fault at the moment. It's alright, he can still secure championship this season. A lot of people will give him this one. I'll tell you that much. So he can still secure championship. I do expect him to still secure championship. I'm not going to talk about Perez. Oh my days. Fab's Red Bull will lose the Constructors' Championship because that would really put Maximilian over if he wins Drivers' Championship and Red Bull don't even win the Constructors. Then it would really put him over. It'd be like, oh, you see all those championships? I'll let you, whoa, about all of them. About all of those. About all of those. It's all going to come out in the wash. Don't worry. Seeing as Newey is out of the firing line, no doubt a lot more is going to come out, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in that regard. And we'll have to see what happens with Maximilian. Alright? This is his time to demonstrate that he is not Fraudstappen. It's right now. It's gonna be this season by the looks of it. Probably next season too, if Red Bull actually produce a convincing challenger without Newey in the house with his input. Whatever input he so has. Or had. Should be past tense. Very soon. But anyway. That should be the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.